Hi, you're listening to Redneck Theology, a short program providing a common sense look at Christianity. I'm your host, Bill Whitty. Questions or comments may be emailed to rednecktheology@gmail.com. Now, on with the broadcast. No thanks. I'm giving. Well, it's that time of year again. Bells are ringing, mailboxes bulge with requests to donate a meal for the hungry. Groups put together baskets for holiday dinners. Seems like everyone's sending an email urging to remember the less fortunate. And once Thanksgiving ends, the push intensifies for Christmas donations. Many individuals and families benefit from the generosity shown throughout the holiday season. I know what it's like to be on both sides. I've received and I've given. I'm thankful for the benevolent acts taking place. They are biblical in nature and needful. With that said, they also provide a source of fanning the flames of Scrooge in people's hearts. It's one thing to say no to an invitation to give. It's quite another to feel guilty and offer an excuse. All through the year, we're offered opportunities to give to different groups. Pictures of sick and needy children tug at the heartstrings. We hear stories of how giving to a certain charity will help thousands of children with terminal diseases receive life-giving medical care. Victims of disasters may be left destitute without help. Then there's the needs of those in other countries. The list of deserving organizations, seems endless. We can't help them all. We have to say no to some. We also have to watch for the groups that use so much for administrative costs that only pennies on the dollar go to provide actual help. And, of course, fake charities abound also. It becomes easy to bypass the request after a while, especially if we give during the holiday season. We give to a church or other organization and trust our tithes and offerings are enough. During holidays, we help as an organization. We're giving. When the cashier asks if we would like to round up our change or donate $1 to here or there or that cause, we realize we can't help everyone, and since we're giving in other ways, it's all right to answer no thanks. But are we really giving? What happens with the people we give food baskets to after Thanksgiving? What about the children we buy toys for after Christmas? I'm not suggesting we support people who won't or don't try to do things for themselves. And I don't suggest we pester them or make them feel like they owe us a visit to church now either. I'm asking if we remember them. Do we check on them at all? Do we let them know we have concern that transcends the holidays? Granted, it's not always possible to follow up, but when it is possible, do we? How much of ourselves are we really willing to give to others? How much are we giving to others? You, me as individuals, not as a church or organization. Now, sure, people exist who will take advantage of any help offered. And we do them no favor if we encourage them to be dependent upon others. We can't let those cloud our vision when it comes to assisting others, however. Are we willing to inconvenience ourselves? In far too many cases, we may find it easier to give money to assist or offer our time to a project in place of visiting. Well, say someone in a hospital. Maybe not visiting their home, but just going to a nursing home. When the sermons about giving come up, we feel justified. But are we? Now, I know this is a variation from my normal podcast. Next time, we'll likely be more, quote, normal. I simply believe God wants those of us who call ourselves Christians to stop asking what would Jesus do and just follow his example. When truly in doubt, ask God what he'd have us to do. But don't use contemplating or asking what would Jesus do as a way to put off making a choice until it's no longer an issue. Knowing what to do carries with it a responsibility to carry through. James, the 4th chapter and the 17th verse says, "Therefore to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, To him it is sin. The Bible doesn't give us a list of certain days or season in which to do good. Now granted, in the Old Testament, there were holidays, feasts, whatever you want to call them, that God set up to be remembered and to be kept. As we read in the New chapter of the New Testament, the New Covenant, we see that things changed a bit. We're no longer under that law and no longer following all the precepts and all the steps demanded under the law. As a matter of fact, a study of the 14th chapter of Romans seems to indicate God isn't an observer or a non-observer of holidays, but that it's a subject really for another time. Maybe we'll get into that in another podcast. The point of today's podcast is simply that we are to give, love, do good, and care for others at all times. If we all did this, finding needy families might become more difficult, you know? By all means, participate in food drives, feeding, clothing the needing, giving to the myriad of other benevolent activities during the season. Don't stop when Christmas decorations come down, though. Enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. As you listen to this podcast, that is actually winding down. Thanksgiving's past. We're entering more into the Christmas season. Enjoy the holidays and the season surrounding Christmas. The best way to truly enjoy is by loving those around you. One of the most popular themes each year talks about putting Christ back in Christmas. The best way to do that starts with showing Christ to everyone 24 hours a day in our own life, and that includes giving. If you have any doubts you'll go to heaven upon your death, please email me. I'll give the address at the close of the podcast. And I really would like to hear from you. I won't put you on a mailing list or keep sending you stuff over and over and over. But if you have questions pertaining to how to know about going to heaven or Christianity or topics, I'd be glad to hear them. And perhaps you might have a suggestion for a future podcast subject. The issue of whether or not you're going to heaven upon death, or if the rapture takes place before your death, that you would go to be with the Lord, that's an issue that must be settled beyond all doubt before you can truly be called a Christian. If you are a Christian, then join with me and the millions of others in truly giving as Christ would, living so people can see his example in our lives, and doing good wherever we are urged to do so. If we'll all do that, then when a cashier asks if we want to contribute to this or that, we can know for a fact in our own mind what we have done, what we're doing, and we can honestly say, no thanks, I'm giving. That's our program for today. I'm Bill Witte, thanking you for listening to Redneck Theology. Your questions or comments may be emailed to rednecktheology@gmail.com. Please join me again next time for more Redneck Theology.